Hello, and welcome to yet another Ball Over Passion space. My name is Karen, and let's get this going. So, got some people with us. Got the main man CK. We got Jimmy and we got Willow on the space today. How are we all doing?
Yeah, good. I love the new intro, by the way. Just put that in there.
All
It's
good,
fucking,
man. All good.
fucking clean.
Yeah, that's all CK, man.
Yeah,
He's
same.
he's a bit of a G with this shit.
That's,
So
that's that's a big upgrade to the old intro. I must admit, I like the new one. That's clean.
yeah, good. How are you feeling today, fellas?
Doing good.
I've been really good. Today's been a good day. Today's been a good day with Arsenal. Excited.
You think?
Yeah, excited. I don't know where we're gonna come in
Yeah,
and talk
it's
topic of
nice.
conversation, but I'm so excited for All or Nothing. I can't wait. I actually
Literally,
can't wait.
let's get into it, lads. Let's get into it. If we're all or nothing brought up, let's get into all or nothing. Go, guys. What do you guys think about this all or nothing thing?
I just,
Got you, go CK.
yeah, for me, like all or nothing is just like finally, because I think Arsenal fans have wanted it for a long time. Because like we've had some crazy years, and for them to even do it all or nothing, maybe they just want to show off. That's what I was thinking when I first saw it. I thought all or nothing. Why this year? And I think they just want to show off. So for me, it could be a distraction, or it just could be a crazy positive. And even if people complain, the same people are gonna watch it. So I just don't. Yeah, go on.
I just think I'm so excited with it, just because I feel like, especially these last even this last decade, I'd say, like the fans have found it so hard to connect with the club on a different level. I think it's been very hard. There's been a barrier. There's been a communication problem, and I think it sets a tone and it helps us for maybe trying to take a step forward. Obviously, we've had all of the Super League and all of that, so that even lost even more trust. So I think there's been a big barrier between us. I think this will help to try and just so we can actually see what the club is actually like, because we're always talking about it. We're always trying to. It's always guesswork on what's actually happening. So it'd be actually nice to see what is happening within the club and who the leaders are in the club as well.
Yeah, and it'll be good to see. So there was weird stuff that you'd see, like which players stayed with each other during training, during lunch, like who actually spoke to Mourinho. Because in the Mourinho one, you could see that he didn't really speak to the players like that. Like maybe they hid it or something, but you could see that the players were themselves. And Mourinho had so many reactions in his office.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But the other thing is as well is like the amount of times I've what we've seen and we've heard, or like I've even said, like where we'd lose a game against like a Tottenham or a Chelsea, and we'd all say, like these players don't even give a shit. Like they're just going to go home to their mansions and they're just like, they don't care at all. It'll be actually nice to see their reactions in the changing room, see who actually does care, see who's the leader, see who, if there's any tension afterwards, if anyone actually has a go at each other and tries to set the standards, because I do hope to kind of see that. But and also like reports came out today with the some of the players aren't happy with it. For me, I'm glad that's come out, because that shows me who's not ready. Like if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Players that don't want to see themselves on there have something to hide. If you've got nothing to hide, then you're fine with it happening.
Probably, yeah. And with what you just said with the tension stuff, like we did see in the Spurs one, like that big thing with Lloris and Son. Like that's something, even though they started on the pitch, you never see the aftermath. So it'd just be good to see certain things that we just wouldn't really imagine, and who actually leads in the changing room, because you did see with other guys is like some Harry Kane tries do a big like pre-match speech, and it's just a lot of F words and that, like he wasn't saying much, so you could just see who's the real leaders in the changing room, and I just think we will really find out the character of certain players with this all or nothing.
Right. Okay. So I love it, but I'm going to do some admin stuff first. So first things first, I'm going to put the StreamYard link in the comments. If you want to have a chat, get in there, and we'll get you on. There it goes.
If there's too many people, you're gonna have
If there's too many people, there's too many people. We can't have too many people on. But straight away, the spaceman himself, Mr. Nom, is here. How are you, Mr. Nom?
That's happening, bro. No, so I was going to come in anyhow, but there's lots of things happened this morning. I couldn't keep up with everything, man. I think by the time it got to the afternoon, I was thinking, right, I'm definitely coming sort of try to have a chat just to catch up and see what's going on.
There was definitely
so I've been so busy. That's why really people haven't sort of had a chance to hear me sort of be active. I've not been really active on Twitter at all this week. But I've got the holidays coming up, so you'll probably guys see me a lot more active then. Yeah, what was I saying? I was just hearing you guys talking. Actually, I was just listening to the, and I think Willow made some really good points about the documentary. I actually wanted us to do it because I've seen the Leeds one now, I've seen the Man City one, and I've seen the Tottenham one, and it's really interesting for me to see like how professional clubs run in the background.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our fan base think we're some sort of amateur outfit, and there isn't a lot of professionalism that sort of underpins in the background. I think it'd be really interesting to see us how professional the sort of backroom staff are and the support staff are, and all the sort of routines that I think the management are trying to bring in the background. I mean, we've heard a lot about it. I think we've even spoke about it in podcasts and stuff before. I think you guys definitely have, George, and that about the restructuring in the club. So for me, I think there's no point. I think on football Twitter at the moment, people love speculating or making stuff up. It'd just be good to see the actual evidence in front of us. Because for me, what would be interesting, because I when I watched the Tottenham one, I was kind of shocked because I could see a few things there that I didn't see in the Man City one, if you know what I mean. The Man City you could tell, were a serious professional outfit. Do you know what I'm saying to you? There was episodes where Karen, the nutritionists, were like literally making sure that the players had labeled food that they had to take home and eat.
Do you remember people going to De Bruyne's house? And they were like, they had like, For me, I think out of all those, just give me a sec, Chris, and I'll let you get on. For me, it was the All Blacks one, because the All Blacks one showed like a commitment to excellence. I don't know if we've got any rugby fans in, but if you watch that documentary, it doesn't matter if you're a rugby fan or not. It's quality television.
Yeah, I've seen parts of it, Karen, because I think there's a philosophy that I don't think people understood, like with the All Blacks, for example. And I know we're diverting now to rugby, which some people would hate. But I think they're an interesting.
It's still the all or nothing topic.
Yeah, but it's an interesting example though, because I think what you saw with them is that they have an underlying philosophy in the national team, and I think the most interesting aspect that I liked was how competitive their training was, how competitive they were amongst themselves as a group, and therefore they got the best out of themselves. They understood that really competitive environment that they had. In fact, training with the All Blacks was harder than the matches that they played. That's why they could reach those levels of excellence.
One of the ones I liked the most was like the Leeds one, because with the Leeds one, there was a part where like you see Daniel James in the flipping Leeds. He's in Leeds headquarters and stuff, and he's there getting ready to put a shirt on, and you just see the deal fell at the last minute. And I never thought it would ever be like that. Like he's there ready to put the shirt on, ready to sign, and he just seems disappointed and just stays. Like I've never seen it like that, which is good for me. And with them, like all or nothing type of things, like with if anyone's seen the Sunderland Till I Die thing, which is very similar.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's not all or nothing, but it's very similar. I think it's a very great series, and it's just like there's certain things you see, like when they changed who were doing the transfers and stuff, and you just see different methods and all this, and it'll just be a good insight to see how much different we are now to other
Wenger days and stuff
in the past. Yeah.
Couple of things. Just give me a sec, Norm. Guys, if you're coming in, can you have an AVI or something? Because there's a lot of like just circles. I'm not. It's a bit difficult to tell who's who at the moment. So if you can just put like a Twitter AVI or something on, that would help a lot. This comment that's down here, we will be getting on to Onana and transfer stuff, but right now we're talking all or nothing.
This is embarrassing, but I'm 20 years of age. How'd you do that?
Do you want me to try? Do you want me to try and
Right, yeah. If you think
so basically, if you look at if you go to your there's 3 dots above your name, and you can go and if you click that, it says edit name or edit avatar.
We can see the names now. Actually, hold on.
Yeah, names are okay now, I think. Yeah, but
Okay.
if you see this is
I'll do it.
So Brad's here. Is that Hass? Is that you, bro?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Oh, bro, it's good to hear your voice, man.
Yeah. I'm okay.
We
man.
miss you, man. I miss you. I miss you on Twitter, man. Get back on soon.
I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll try.
All right. Yeah.
What you been saying anyway, Hass? How are you thinking about this other thing?
It's good. It's good. We get to see what's going on inside the club, how it is day to day, how the players are working on a day-to-day basis, transfers, and how excellence is maintained, how it's bred. I think it's a really good thing. I really like it.
You know what? Can I ask a question to everybody? Like, who do you think signed off the fact that we should do it? Because I'm assuming it must be Edu. In my opinion.
KSC. KSC, and the reason why is because they've already done it a lot in their different teams. LA Rams had a documentary, so that is why. And for me, what it shows is a level of intent on what we're doing. They would have never showed, like Arsenal, if we all know, it's been like Fort Knox the last few years. You can't get shit out of it. They've tried to lock it down. They've got all the reporters out of it. When there was a leak last year, they were furious. I think this year, for them to show, to let themselves be so vulnerable, I think it shows of really what they want to do to this club, and especially this summer, what they want to do. I really do see a big summer ahead of us because I don't think they would do it if they didn't think that we were not going to achieve big things next season.
Yeah, they won't do it if they're not going to try to show up.
Just an interesting point to bring up is Eddie was involved with the Brazilian one. Because they did a Brazil team.
Yeah, I saw the Brazilian.
There was KSC obviously have been involved with the LA Rams. Arteta was obviously in part of the Man City one. They obviously have an idea about what's going to happen in terms of this documentary. They've all been part of it in some form or in some fashion or another. So I don't think they just go in there. So they see £10 million and they just start dancing. Oh my God, they've offered just 10 to 12 million pounds.
This has been in the works for years.
Must have been. Not years. I would say maybe about 6 months or so.
I do have a slightly more cynical view. I think that it's very well for them to accept it, but I am a bit. I don't know if they've got I don't think they're putting the club first when they're thinking of this. I do think money is their main
driving force
behind it. I don't think that they truly thought about how the club might be represented or what this might do for the club and the people running it on a day-to-day basis. But, hopefully it doesn't impact us too much.
Brad, you do know that they get editing rights on that, so they
have full autonomy on what happens. Yeah.
A bit like
the club have
Tottenham did. I was shocked some of the stuff that they kept Tottenham because a couple of things. Like, when Mourinho sent it in his coach to find out if he could get rid of Sissoko, and he realised that.
And then
he goes.
Mourinho looked like an evil person.
Yeah, that was Mourinho PR in the end. That wasn't edited in the club's intention.
Favour.
That was Mourinho.
I think they just wanted to make a proper team.
Was that calm, Brad?
If I'm correct, they didn't show.
Jimmy, sorry.
Poch getting sacked, did he?
No,
they didn't show that.
I mean, I hope you guys have come on here after watching the pod, and if you did, the last one but when we talked about Arsenal, it's very personal in terms of what's happening with the club right now, because as I was saying on the club, people are at the moment plotting the downfall of this season already. I see people on Twitter already going, I can't wait for them to show Arteta being sacked. I can't wait to see how much of a clown this man is. I can't wait to see how Aubameyang dances for them. Like it's just sad. I know it's expected, but come on, lads, it's a bit like, why are we doing this? Why are we this way?
Did anyone expect this? Be honest.
Yeah,
no, I did. I expected
not this season. Not this season.
No, not this season. But I said that we would do, and I said we're doing all or nothing.
No way. listen, I had a tweet from like 2 years ago when the first one came out of Man City. That there's no way Arsenal will do that. They're too private, and there's just too much shambolic stuff going in that club.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, there's no way Arsenal will do that.
Jimmy, that's what I'm saying. At that time, it wasn't. Jimmy, I understand where you're coming from, but at that time, like, you know, when we were getting rid of players and there was that toxic environment, supposed in the dressing room, that would not be the time for you to do a all or nothing. Because let's be frank,
of course.
how the hell would you edit half that shit out? Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't be able to edit all of it out.
On top of that, you've got to give some money back if you're going to edit so much. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah. That now is the perfect time. He's got rid of most of the players that he wants to get rid of. We're getting rid of players that we knew we should have got rid of for a long time. He's going to bring a whole lot of new players in that with his players. He's created the environment. He's got his coaching staff.
But
he's had time to work with these other guys.
No.
So
for me,
I do think this has more to do with Kroenke, like bettering their PR, if that makes sense. I think
for sure.
All over. And I don't know if
Jimmy, they need to do that, right? They need to do that.
Because also right now they're public enemy number one. Do you get it? And I remember, if you look cast your minds back to, I think it was a couple of days after we signed Partey, Vinay and Edu came out talking about, you know, the club's ambitions, blah blah blah. And I remember Edu mentioned, I would love for the fans to see how we operate behind the scenes. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. That was a weird comment he said, but I think I thought, what's he going to do about it? Because he hasn't. You know what? I'll be honest with you, Jimmy. You know, sometimes people really give Edu a hard time, a rough ride, and I understand why people do that. But I think he's very rarely come out once or twice and done interviews, and I think he's conscious more of his language skills and stuff, and he's probably not as fluent as Arteta. But to be frank, I think he would have been one of the guys signed it off and sort of encouraged it, because if you were him and you wanted to show what you were doing and what the other people behind the club were doing, then what a better publicity than get someone who does it professionally instead of just doing the one-off, you know, interviews on the channel.
But no, again, there's people out here with agendas. So no matter how well he does, and obviously we'll see him throughout the season, people still, you know, brushing with the same brush and just say, "Oh, remember this, that, and other," if that makes sense. So
Jimmy,
for him, it's just.
I like that. I like the people want to have agendas, because the truth is they can have their agendas, but if you've got visual, factual, documented evidence like what's going on behind the club over a season, how are you going to argue against that, bro?
Yeah,
right.
I do think.
Yeah,
go on,
Jimmy. Yeah. So what I was just going to say. Go on, Jimmy. Go on.
Sorry, my bad.
No, that's cool.
I do think people do like judge him off the whole Kia thing, if that makes sense, because I don't know if you remember, but, before we got Partey, if I'm correct, one of the targets was Højbjerg. And Højbjerg's agent is Kia, if that makes sense. And then the Athletic basically said, how Arsenal knew that obviously the public perception was that Arsenal were like in bed with Kia Jarapcha, if that makes sense. So that's why they kind of called off on that, because he was very cheap. He was like 15 mil.
But Jimmy, you know what? I wouldn't believe everything the Athletic says. You know, like with the Athletic, unfortunately, you have to mix the good with the bad, if you know what I mean. If Arsenal really wants the player, and if Arteta really wants a player, and we can afford him, I can't imagine the club saying no, regardless of who the agent is, right?
Yeah. Also,
you're right. I'm wary of Kia Jarapcha, but I think it's a bit unfair, because let's be frank. If you look at Kia's books, he hasn't got enough players for the players that we need, right? So we're always going to sign players away from Kia. Kia's just a contact, you know, that was useful at the time. The Willian transfer was the worst one that we got. Cedric wasn't bad, actually. That's not worked out badly for us. And David Luiz, even though we didn't rate him when he first came in, he turned out to be a good transfer for us, you know, in terms of what he brought to the squad. So for me, I think we're moving away from Kia Jarapcha now, because I think we've got bigger fish to fry. We've actually got money to spend. So
to be honest,
we don't need to rely on one agent.
To be honest, if you look at his roster and check out the clients that he has, I think the best ones are really like past like Willian, David Luiz. I think the best one right now is as in that that's young, is Højbjerg.
Exactly.
So all these.
Well, that's his best client. That's all you need to know.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, just to quickly weigh in on this, there's a couple of things you have to think about with this KSE and all or nothing thing. So first of all, the pressure after the ESL and the Daniel Ek bid has obviously got to them. They've got to think. They're thinking, holy crap! There are protests. People are really upset. We're not performing well. This isn't looking good. We need to calm the storm. We need to get our people to understand what's going on right now. So they've basically done this, and I think a good thing about it is the team that we are unsure about right now. We don't really know much about the Garlicks of the world, the Tim Lewis of the world, even Edu to a degree.
Spot on. You're right.
So we don't know what these guys do. Even things like people like Jordan Reese, who does an amazing job as a physiotherapist. People like Bruno Mazziotti, who has been legendary. No, but he's a freelance agent. He's still at the club.
He leaves anyways.
He leaves and comes back. He's if you look at some of the pictures at Colney from the Klasnach Day shoots, there's a picture of him in there. Like he's in the background. You can see it's quite clearly Mazziotti.
What the last couple of days?
No, like what's his name? Mazziotti was never the main guy. He just got
no. But my point is he can come and go.
He's not there now, is he?
I think he's there. I think he is there now. I'm pretty sure he is there now because I've seen pictures where.
I haven't seen any. I'm honest.
But they don't
quite a lot.
It doesn't show his actual face, but you can see it's like his. You can see it's him.
How he looks like. He's kind of bulky, and you can tell it's him.
Yeah. You can tell it's him.
If you could show me a picture.
Yeah, but guys, I think he joined. If I remember, he joined in January, didn't he? After the Christmas. So if he's got a year contract, he still might have some time still left on that contract. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So I'm not sure if he's leaving immediately, but he might be leaving one of his contracts.
We're getting away from the point, but the point with Mazziotti is clear that he's a freelance agent. He's someone that can be brought back. He can go and come as he plays. And by agent I mean as a physio. He's not a player, is he?
Yeah. But going back to your original point with Jordan, like Tim Lewis and that, I'll be interested to see how involved they get, because obviously Daniel Levy was very involved in it. You would see him a lot in most episodes. There would at least be a 5-minute segment. I wonder how. Well, in Man City's one, they weren't as involved.
No, but in the Man City one, when the transfers were being done, you could see Tixie and his crew. Like
they weren't in it for like 10 minutes each episode, like fucking Levy was. I want to see how involved, like how much we'll hear from like a Tim Lewis or an Edu or.
I don't think I think we won't hear from Tim Lewis. I think what we'll see is Edu probably being with the squad with the squad a lot more than we see like any of the other sporting directors, because I think when he was with Brazil and Corinthians, he spent a lot of time actually with the squad himself. For him, he feels it's important to not only go and be involved in transfers. I remember, and this is going to sidetrack a little bit, but I remember listening to Monchi. Seville. Hey, sorry.
You're not going to get excited. I haven't thought about the whole Richard Garlick and blah blah. I haven't really thought about that deep, but it's getting exciting, honest man.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, Jimmy. Like for me, it's important that all these dynamics, how they work in the back room, right? Because I think what we get to see then is how they manage the squad, how they prepare the squad. I mean, the coaching staff prepare the squad, but the sporting director. I remember listening to Monchi. He released a whole load of seminars on YouTube about what it's like to be a sporting director, and at the time we were linked with him, so I thought I'd listen to him. I don't know if you guys ever listened to him, but one of the things he said was really interesting. He said he's not only involved in transfers and that's his business done. He then spends time with the players and then watches and spends time talking to them and seeing how they settle into the club and settle into the squad. So it'd be interesting to see how he does that, if he goes through that philosophy.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really remember too tough, but I remember he was doing an interview of where Roma was interested in the player and something happened. A club came in and swooped it for him that last second, and he had to come out and to the fans.
Malcolm to Barcelona.
Who was? That's it. Spot on.
Oh yeah, Malcolm. That was Malcolm.
He literally, it was so he was so transparent and he laid it all on the table and said, Barcelona just came in with a higher bid and blah blah, and he blamed the Bordeaux guy because he wanted more money. He didn't, because obviously he agreed with Roma, but then he just took more money from Barcelona, if that makes sense. And that I remember much from that specifically, and that was really impressive for me, to be honest.
I mean, with the KSC stuff, I was trying to say is they're clearly under the cosh, and they want people. They see the pressure that they're under, especially with how it is on Twitter. Arteta in, Arteta out. I refuse to hear those words today, guys. No, no Arteta in, no Arteta out. I don't give a shit.
Aaron, you're literally saying it yourself. So stop saying it, so that we won't hear it.
But the point I'm trying to make is that you can see the toxicity at around the club environment right now, and I think that KSC have realised that. So
can I say something, Karen? You know what? I've got a better way of like phrasing that. What you just said. I'm not going to mention the words because I don't ever actually use those terms. I just say, for me, it's like whether people list the rationale or don't list the rationale. Right? I couldn't care less if you like the manager or don't like the manager. The problem line is, can you list the logic and can you reason? If you can do that as an Arsenal fan, I'm with you. Do you know what I'm saying to you? I don't care what side of the argument you fall on. As long as you listen to the next person's opinion, if you can give some merit to what they're saying when it's factually correct, then that's fair play to me. Because for me, we can all have different opinions. I mean, Karen might like the color blue, I might like the color green, whatever. Do you understand? Who cares? But the bottom line is, it'd be nice if we could justify why we like our color, right? It's our choice.
Yeah.
So at least that's all I have. That's all I ever say to
one statement I am going to put out there though is, there's people talking about they can't wait for Arteta to be sacked and all like this. One thing I'd love to see in HD is Vinay to fuck off. I hate Vinay.
Yeah.
Vinay is a guy I would like to see.
I don't know what Vinay has done though. I can understand.
This is the thing. This is the thing, Jimmy. I think we're going to find these things out, and I think people actually, because if what I feel I've looked into and what I know of the club is true, I think a lot of people will change their minds very quickly about what about what's going on at the club.
A lot of people didn't even know that Garlic does negotiations. So
true.
When you do see this stuff, like you see Garlic a lot at the start probably for the signings, and then after that you won't really see him.
Yeah, correct. Let me ask you a question. I feel as if that KSC are banking on giving Arteta loads of money and just signing top players. But obviously, as we know, obviously everyone's football fans here, signing loads of players don't usually work all the time.
No.
You see what I'm saying? I think obviously for last season, for example, Chelsea, you can see the problems there already. Of course,
they didn't have a plan.
They didn't have a plan. Jimmy, let me answer the question. Yeah. So basically, what you've seen from go on.
So obviously Tuchel coming in, he basically saw everyone was basically just dysfunctional, if that makes sense. Players of form, and there's just loads of good players just in and around the place, and obviously found a good system or whatever, and sat on that and basically played the season now, and obviously they've done it well. But that doesn't happen all the time. So I'm kind of interested as to know, okay, so if he's going to give Arteta lots of money, it has to be the right profiles. I don't care about getting up to like 7 players or 8 players. I don't care about that. Even if you get 3 or 4 proper profiles, I'm happy with that, I'm honest. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, so with the comparison to Chelsea and how much money they spent, it's a very clear difference. Chelsea bought elite profiles, but they bought them to buy the profiles. They didn't buy them because they fit into their team as naturally as, like, even though we're paying what, 6 million for Tavares, you can see there's a plan there, and there was a need for a Tavares in that team. He wants someone that will replicate that final ball, as me and CK were talking earlier. I'll give this one to him because this is his exact quote. They need someone to find that elite final ball of Tierney in that final third, and he's bang on the money on this one, CK. So, when KT isn't available, and that's what they've done with Lokonga. They found someone that is a good replacement or a backup for Thomas Partey. If you look at their profiles, they're very similar, and it gives you cover in midfield. The profiles. What I want to stress as well is that no man knows what Arsenal are moving this window. Arsenal moving like Batman. No one knows where this guy's gonna land. No one knows what this guy's gonna do. Like I remember I was talking with George. Big up George. We were talking about left back the backup left backs. Which ones do we want? Thierry Small, Josh Doig, and Lee Buchanan of, see if I'm going to get this right, Derby. Because I keep saying Bolton and he keeps correcting me. Yeah, they're all great left backs, but none of them were the ones we got. We got Nuno Tavares. No one knew about Albert Sambi Lokonga. And
if you do think about the players that we wanted, most of them were just like, oh, we need homegrown. And they just Tavares won't affect our homegrown quarter because we won't take up a first team spot. So
it's very smart. That move is very like meticulous. Kind of looked at the profile and everything like, around it, not just the player himself. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So the homegrown thing for me, when I saw that, I was like, "Alright, cool. There's a plan." Because even I didn't think of that, quite honest, because he was born in 2000, which makes him somehow homegrown.
Yeah, it makes him that he doesn't count for the.
He doesn't count for the over 21.
For me, for me that's smart. You know, not of course these don't get paid millions to see them kind of things. But obviously, I don't pay millions.
And before we didn't see that as a club.
Exactly.
But you know what? Can I say something? If you guys look at the Man City All or Nothing, you'd see that Man City put in their plans way in advance. So when Arteta was saying before Christmas that they had plans set up ready for the summer, I was interested to know if he was going to follow that same Man City model of, you know, making the contacts, because now we had a sporting director. We didn't have half this structure available in previous years, right? Where the sporting director will start making those initial contacts, start sounding out the club, start looking at the players, start making contacts. They might be several because, you know, the transfer markets are fluid, right? The other thing Jimmy's right, by the way, about profiles and integrating players into the squad. But I think, Jimmy, that goes down to the fact that Arteta knows that he's got a short space of time now to convince a certain section of our fan base that he is the right man for the job, right? Yeah. So he has to, you know, he has to do it his way. He's realised that compromising, doing it any other way means that it's half-hearted, and he'll end up getting sacked for that. And then he'll end up with regretting not giving himself a chance by actually going full throttle on this, right? You're right to be worried about like integrating so many players, because I remember Arsene saying that the maximum you can integrate into the first team 11 is 4 players, because beyond that you destabilize the team. But I think a lot of the players we've bought initially, not apart from White, I think who's going to be a first team player, I think that others are squad players. So I think when you add quality to the squad and they're the right kind of profiles and they know what their role is, you don't destabilize the squad that much, especially if they're the right characters as well. So for me, I think you're right. They did give lots of money to him, but I think he had to justify all those signings before they actually went out to the market and decided to go for them.
There's a difference between buying a couple of players with lots of money and splashing a lot of them, and splitting that money out and making sure that you have the right players at the right age as well. Because if you look at the age of our squad, we're looking to grow a squad. We're not looking just to, right now, today, we need to get that final piece to take us to the moon, basically. We need multiple pieces in multiple areas to get us to a place where we're actually thinking, okay, now we can move and we can push for a title or a Champions League or whatever. But right now, we need to get back to the top 4. We haven't got Europe, so that's an added bonus. And if we have a young enough, youthful enough squad with more pieces in different places that we need, it's more worthwhile in investing that same money that you were given in multiple areas. Get squad players, get rid of trash, and invest wisely. So you can go for 5 years, not just like 1 year.
Yeah. Karen, I'm going to back up your point on that, because look, do you remember when the window before it started, there was rumours that we were interested in Ryan Bertrand, and that came from good sources, right? And a lot of people said, yeah, he's the right kind of player, you know, he's got experience and he's the kind of left back that we want. I mean, to be honest, I looked at the deal that Leicester struck for him. He's got a corker of a deal there. I'm pretty sure it's 3 years with an option, right? So he's got another option for another year. Is that right? Am I?
I think it's 2 years with an option. It's still 20.
Is it 2 years with an option?
Until
that for his age is the kind of deal that we said that we weren't going to make anymore. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
So I remember when suddenly we went cold on him, our fan base went into a meltdown. You know, like, oh, who are we going to get? You know, we're letting Leicester to be smart. I don't know if Leicester are being that smart. I think Leicester are having to sort of fill that homegrown quota by putting a player in there. I'm not saying he's not a good player, by the way. I think he is a good player, but I just don't think at that age you can justify giving anyone that contract.
I'm glad we stopped doing it, but I'm glad we didn't do it because it has shown me that the amount of times I've banged on about Arsenal not learning from their mistakes, and I finally you look at that and think, okay, maybe they have learned. They are learning from their mistakes. They're stopping buying old people, putting them on high wages. They're actually getting someone who's young and hungry. Because like Bertrand, let's be honest, as much as I think he's a good Premier League experienced player, he's happy to play second fiddle to Tierney, while someone like Tavares coming in, he's young, he's got something to prove, he's going to be hungry, wanting to take that first team space at some point. Well, Bertrand's he'd just be happy to be called on whenever. I want someone hungry.
So with the Bertrand stuff, I wanted Bertrand, I'm not going to lie to you. I thought that it would be someone that we can rely on in terms of experience-wise, someone that he's not going to complain about not getting first team minutes. He's just going to come in and do a job because he knows what he's there for. And I understand what the situation is. But I also get the opposite way of going and saying, okay, there's a youngster there. We need someone that we can mold and create another Kieran Tierney, so we have two options there. Especially the only reason I'm not so bothered about the personal stuff with Tavares is because Tierney is his senior in that situation, and Tierney is first of all, Tierney is an RSPCA advocate right now, and second of all, he's probably the most mature man in the club right now in terms of the squad. I think he should be vice captain next season, and I think eventually he will take over the captaincy.
I think, Karen, you're right. I think he will definitely be one of the 5 captains next year.
I think Nuno speaks English, Nuno, I think, would speak English, correct? I think
also we need to look at resale value as well. There's no reason why if Tavares doesn't push Tierney to its max and then he doesn't become happy with playing second fiddle, that someone doesn't come in with a £30 million bid and we've made £22 million profit on him. I mean, it's just Bertrand. Yeah, okay, he would have been a competent backup to Tierney, and I'm sure he would have done okay when called upon. But again, he probably would have saw out his contract here, gone somewhere else, and we never see him again. We made no money on him. But I think that Tavares, we should make a profit on him for his price. If it's not as big as I just said, that's fine. But unless there's a disaster, we should make profit on him. And I think that again is a model we're trying to go with as well. Could be with Lokonga again. If we improve the squad as we should do, and he's not happy being third choice, and we sell him for 30 in 4 years' time, then they're just options that if these players can't quite break into our first team, we will flip profits on these talented youngsters instead of buying these 30-year-olds, which I'm pretty sure if this situation came up last year, Bertrand would be an Arsenal player right now. It just would have been what we did. And this is what's changing.
You know what, though, Brad? I'm not going to justify. I mean, look, retrospectively, I think some of the decisions we made were obviously bad because we can see it in hindsight. But at the time, I did understand what they were trying to do. When they bought Cedric Suarez, I don't agree with the length of contract he was given, but I understand why they needed to bring in another right back at the time because Hector Bellerin wasn't.
I understand it, but what's going on now is still a positive change. This is a better.
Yeah. I think now this phase of development is different to the phase of recruitment that we did before. I think. The one thing we were worried, and all of us worried here, at one point was would he get the money to be able to make the changes as quickly as he wants to? Because we know that last year Arteta must have been really frustrated when he didn't have the right. By not having the hour deal go through, he was left almost with his pants down, trying to sort out a team, and try to sort of mold players like Willian to play a number 10. When we know, and any Chelsea fan will tell you, I don't think that guy can play that number 10 role. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So he's never really played it for us. Chelsea, so I don't know.
I want to move on to last point, Jimmy. Then I want to move on to something.
Let's add one thing. What's really interesting is that how Leicester are always loaded to be this club that's proactive. They're bringing young, hungry players and selling for profit and all these kind of things. And it's so funny how people, when it comes to Tavares, the only thing people mention is, it's off the field stuff. People are not mentioning how Arsenal have done well to recruit someone so young that has basically a lot of upside. And that's
Jimmy, there are people.
I'm like,
Yeah, Jimmy, but there are people who are actually what I would call people who scout players and talk about football players in Portugal who know that this kid is extremely talented. He's just fallen off the way because he's got a very good, again, left back in Benfica and Grimaldo. And he's gone through that development where I think at Benfica he's not pushing himself. So I think he's coming to an environment where he knows he's going to get pushed.
And the fans didn't like him.
Yeah, plus he's done a few stupid things like all young kids do, right? And he's got on the wrong side of the fans. So he's a character, we know that. But I'm sure we did our research. I know for a fact that, listen, when this kid first broke in to the first team, that people were thinking like he was going to be as expensive as, Nuno Mendes, in Sporting, he's being quoted at 50, 60 million euros. So they thought he was that expensive and that talented. Not maybe as talented as Nuno, but, not very far from him. So the fact that we got him for the money that we got him for was crazy, right? So anyone who's seen his development will tell you that they thought he was going to be a bit of a big star, and 10 million euros or less than 10 million euros is a steal really in this market. So
talking,
it's a very good time.
Talking about 10 million euros, there's a certain Cameroonian individual that we've been linked with the entire window in Andre Onana. It's looking like we're getting some competition, but the interest is firmly back. If you follow the main man, he's tagged all of us in it and ruined my mentions for a good hour. So thank you for that, Z. I appreciate it.
I'm glad he didn't tag me, man. Thank God.
Thank you for ruining my god. He tagged me in a tweet with news about Onana, me, George, and CK over here, and ruined my mentions for literally an hour. Oh, everyone commenting, everyone trying to have their opinion on this Onana situation. And I will right now pull up. I'm not going to pull up Z's tweet, but I will pull up the actual tweet that's coming on. But I want to hear some thoughts about Onana from the guys. So take it away.
I think that the club wanted to keep it as late as possible, so that they pay him for a shorter amount of time. Because if he didn't know he's not allowed to train with any team until like September, he's not allowed to train.
We'd have to pay him for 3 months just to do nothing.
Yeah, and he can't play until November. So I think they want to keep it as late as possible, like to the end of August, and then keep him for a couple of weeks. Then he can train. But other teams are forcing their hand, so other teams are like getting close to the deal, so they have to pull the plug much earlier, which they didn't want to do.
I'm just going to pull up the tweet now. Just give me a sec. Right, here it is. So, where is it? Here it is.
He won't play with our players till like September or October.
So is that visible, guys? I'll make it a little bigger.
Sorry, man. There you go. Really bad eyes.
No, it's okay.
That's good.
So Onana is in favour of leaving for maybe Olympique Lyonnais. France appeals to those around them. Agreement of salary about 2.3 million a year. Offer Ajax offer with 6 million plus 4 million in add-ons. Awaiting direct offer from Olympique Lyonnais, which means there's no actual offer from Lyon. Inter as well are there, especially Arsenal are back in charge. The fire is far from over.
So this is just not a worry. Like, look, all you got to do is look at the first figure you just saw. Salary at 2.3 million. Arsenal Football Club shit on that salary.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a first of all. Like, people are worried about this. Like, Onana knows this is a long game. Like, he's got so many suitors across Europe.
Well, for me, it's the case of people having too short attention spans and only reading the first couple of sentences of that tweet and missing that Arsenal are especially involved in this deal.
Arsenal not as involved. They are
in charge. Thank you, CK.
It's a thing where Arsenal are just in the driving seat, where when they want to pull the plug, it'll be pulled.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the same case for, obviously we're probably going to get into it, but the same case for Basuma. That makes sense. We're probably making him wait, so we might end up looking at our first target, whoever it is, like the likes of Locatelli or whoever. Then obviously, but we know Arsenal know for a fact that Basuma is going to be there until the last day of the transfer window. So I think it's kind of similar in that way.
Those wages aren't much either. That's like 45,000 a week. So
we're gonna
it really won't affect the wage bill.
Like, Onana knows as well. Like, I'm sorry, but he's going to his agent. He knows. Look, mate, you were the Champions League goalkeeper of the year in 2019. Before your transfer ban, you were valued at £40 million. You're not going to be going to a club for a cheap price and be getting £45,000 a week. It's just not happening.
I don't think he's going to go Inter, because with Inter, there's a thing where he's going to have to he's 100%.
Inter can't afford him at the moment, CK.
Yeah, they don't have money.
Inter can't afford the fee.
He'll be 100% second choice. 100%.
Yeah, and plus, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I actually pulled something out for that Inter, because the director said they're not interested in goalkeepers. They've got a good set of goalkeepers there already as it is. So
they have a good youth goalkeeper as well. They've got Handanovic.
Yeah.
We also have the power to complete
Leon. They got Anthony Lopez.
Is like in his 30s.
Wait, say that again, Hassan.
At Lyon they have Anthony Lopez, and I read an article at GFFN. I know they're terrible, but they said he's going to be competing with Anthony Lopez. He's going to be playing in the European games, Onana, but Anthony Lopez will play in the League One games.
All right. I'm gonna answer this question because it's a good question. Why does Arsenal not speed up the transfer of players? Because the team needs to sign several players. Well, first of all, Shaka, it's a case of we need people to leave. We've got a very bloated squad. We've got no Europe. There's no need for a lot of these players to go. It's not. I want this to be dispelled as well. This is not because we don't have the funds. I mean, it might be. Who knows? But it doesn't make sense because we're already putting 50 mil bids out there. It doesn't make any sense. So it's a case of squad management, and we're not someone that's it's not a case where we're just going, okay, screw it, we'll get 50 players in, and then we'll sell 50 players.
Yeah, as I said,
and we're cool.
It's like, see, it doesn't make sense to go out for certain players because, like, if I'm going to negotiate for a right back, you can't convince him to come when there's 4 players to compete with, and even if you do sign him, when you try to sell Bellerin. No one's gonna offer as much because you look desperate. So
I mean, CK, you heard that with Roma, didn't you? Like Roma saying that their dumbasses are waiting for us to buy a midfield player first, so they can lowball us for Xhaka. I mean, they're going after themselves right now. But I think what our fans need to understand, I think maybe some fans who haven't followed the transfer market closely, or they have a passing interest in it and they don't seem to understand the dynamics of it all. It's really important, and I think Jimmy mentioned this, and I think Jimmy, you were telling us that you went to other spaces and you were trying to talk to people and explain this to people when we were on another stream, and you said people just don't seem to understand that you have to have a transfer strategy. And you know what will be good though is when this All or Nothing series comes out, people might hopefully get to see what the strategy is, right? Because the strategy is really important in terms of when you buy players and when you sell players, and sometimes you have to sell the players first, so that you don't get low-balled on that players. Now, that right-back situation that CK said is 100% right. We can only buy Bellerin after we sold him first. Bellerin replacement after we sold him first, and then, then we could worry about. We know we weren't going to get low-balled on Bellerin. Now, I've got another issue as well about why don't we buy several players at the same time? The other issue is really about how these transfers get completed. The negotiation process takes a long time, right? To complete several negotiations at the same time is really difficult. I mean, that situation does arise sometimes, but it's usually at the end of the window when things speed up a lot. A lot of knock-on transfers happen, and that's when I remember. See, and this is important. I don't know if any of you boys remember, but when Edu finished the Thomas Partey transfer, do you remember he took a photo with all the backroom staff? And the backroom staff that are involved in the transfer business are huge. The admin staff are huge. The legal department, it
was like a bunch of people I've never seen before. It was like a bunch of people I've never seen before.
So those people are obviously based in the Highbury House.
Just to quickly answer this next question, the window, this is a big misconception as well. The window does not end before the season starts. It ends at the end of August, so we've got plenty of time.
August
31st. That's another misconception.
It does. We don't want to do that though.
I know we don't want to do that, but the point is we need to realise that they're different. It's not an ordinary window that we can just look at and just say everything's going to be done.
We don't want to do that in incomings, but we might have to still be doing that on outgoings. Does that make sense?
Yes, great point. The way that we are working right now, I don't think we're going to get many influxes of incomings without the outgoing. So we do want
You can't.
want to do it quick. We don't want to be signing players and then relying on them going in the second half of the window, because then we end up in the same situation as last year, where Kolasinac is just sitting in training, getting paid until January, and then he ends up going out. We don't want that again.
Brad, I think the reason why I can say confidently it's different this time is because we've done 3. We're going to do 3 outgoings and we're going to have 3 incomings, right? When I speak to most fans, they already accept that we've got 3 players coming through the door. They haven't been announced yet. They will be in sequence.
What makes me
the next 3 transfers are going to be critical, because we know the next 3...
lads.
What?
There's some news that just came in. Sambil Konga has passed his medicals, but I can't click on it.
That's great news.
I'm just letting you lot know.
Is it in the?
I should hope he's fit if we're spending the money on him. So passing his medical is not exactly celebration to my ears.
I would say he has to hold the shirt and he has to be in the website.
While we're here, I'm just going to do some YouTube admin. So first, thank you for coming through. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, and comment. Please sub to the channel. It does help a lot, as well as liking the video. If you haven't seen our latest pod, I actually think it's one of our best so far. So it's about our history with Arsenal and everything to do with how we got into the club and all these kinds of things, if you haven't seen it already. And next thing, I'm going to ask the guys about the next 3 transfers that we should be making, because in my opinion, I don't know what the club are doing.
So
I have no clue.
With the transfers,
so after these, let me finish. So after these 3 are done, so I'm not talking Tavares, Lokonga, or White, because I think they're pretty much done. What is your next move? I'll take maybe 2 or 3 players. I'll go through each one of you first. So start with CK.
For me, it'll probably be a midfielder. So like Bissouma, whoever they choose, but probably Bissouma. And then Onana's gonna force their hand, because other teams are really involved. So if they really want to do that, Onana will probably be much sooner than we thought. And then obviously Maddison.
Okay, Willow.
Sorry, what was that?
The next. What are your next 2 or 3 targets after these 3 deals get done?
After the Ben White, Tavares, and Lokonga. I'm with CK. I think a DM comes in. So once Xhaka's gone, especially a DM comes in, and that's Bissouma. I think an attacking midfielder is probably our biggest target. This is probably the biggest money spend we'll do, and I think that will be Maddison for around 60 million. After that, I think the right back will be a slow burner, because I think that will run into I think Callum Chambers starts this season, which Cohen will absolutely love himself. Callum Chambers coming in, because I don't think we get rid of Bellerin and Maitland-Niles before the season starts. I think that drags a bit. So I'm not sure on the third one.
Look, you guys, I know it's a bit of a meme because of the clickbait that happened to me, but I do love Callum Chambers. I do love that.
He says that almost with a hint of sexual sort of attraction towards him,
But yeah, I'm gonna let people finish though. So, Brad, you can go next, buddy.
For me, I think that I'll go Onana, and then defensive midfielder. For me, I've always said Locatelli in this one, but I'm going to assume that he's Juventus bound, and then so I'll settle for Bissouma, and not settle in a negative way, but then go to Bissouma, and then I think Aouar. I think the Smith Rowe fan in me worried a little bit about Maddison stunting his progress. I know it shouldn't do. And I feel like Aouar is a nice hybrid, and I think that allows the Smith Rowe contract negotiations to be a little bit.
Brad, please say his name again, please.
Stop taking the mickey out of Brad, man. Let him say what
I love it. Please say it again.
Say what? What?
He wants you to pronounce Aouar.
The French man from Lyon.
Aouar. what should I say?
Listen, man,
it's fine. It's funny. I just lost it for a second. I was like, what? Who? What? What's going on? No, but Husam
how can I say it and how should I say it? Go on.
Husam Awad, and you said Awar.
Okay.
But no, but it's all good. It just threw me off for a second.
I'll go.
But Husam Awad is a good.
I'll go from the French attacking-minded midfielder from Lyon. Then.
You might have just got Brad. You know what? You might just make it all personal. Just call him Husam from now on. That's it.
Yeah, Husam is fine. He's my mate. First-term basis.
That's it.
First name basis. Yeah.
I also because I just want to make sure that Onana is done before him because I don't want to end up paying the money for him and then they end up going for Onana because I think we've got the power in that circus. I think that we can end up.
Yeah, I see what you're saying
getting that done first and then going to get.
Because we can end up giving the cash, Brad, innit, to go and buy him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
So yeah, mine are Onana, Locatelli, and the French midfielder from Lyon.
Oh, that's an interesting one actually, because before I let you go, Nom. So with me, I don't think that but you've got me saying our too many times. The Onana deal is probably the last of the window because of the. I think that's the last deal we do. That's just my personal opinion.
I just see us panicking where someone gets close and we go, "Oh no, we need him."
I just think they don't want to risk it.
I think if obviously we don't really know anything, but in terms of, I'm gonna let Nom go, but I think we'll do. I mean, I'll get into it myself when you guys finish. But I think the Onana deal is probably one of the last ones. But then I'll let Nom go because he's gonna go.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. For me, it's really tricky. To be honest, guys, I've changed my mind several times. I'd love to be like George. George has a set plan of like which players he wants and the profiles. For me, it changes because I think it's very difficult to sort of guess what's going on, and I'm never really ever completely invested in. Sound like a bloody whore now, but I'm saying that I've never always invested in one player, right? For me, I could see how each target that we've got, or each target that we've been linked to, I can see how they could fit into the squad or the team, right? So for me, I'm actually not very far from what Brad said, actually, because I think the only problem I foresee with the Leicester deal is the amount of cash that they want up front, right? So I think that if that becomes a barrier and the clock is ticking, it's more important to get the. It's more important to, I think I was trying to sort of read between the lines with the Emil Smith Rowe, and I think Brad made a really good point. I think Emil, I don't know, people might say it's just a negotiating tactic by the agent to try to get higher wages, but I think there was more to it. I think he would have been more concerned if...
We'll get onto it, Nom, don't worry.
If Maddison came along, does that make sense? So for me...
ESR is the next topic, by the way. So
yeah, no, I know, but what I'm trying to say is like it's so difficult because look, we could have we get Basuma. I know we're going to have problems with like progression through midfield because we will be relying on Partey to do that. So, and I like Basuma, I really do. So for me, certain players will have to sort of affect certain things that I think might happen. So at the moment, I don't believe the Italian links that Juventus are clear cut and it's all dried and done. If that was the case, we wouldn't still be in the conversation, right? Sassuolo would have to come to a deal with him because, let's just put it this way, we wouldn't have even bid. I can't imagine we wouldn't have even bid if we'd thought that we had no chance. Do you know what I'm saying to you? I think, this is my personal opinion, I think with Locatelli, I think he has to go and listen to what Juventus have to offer. And the club have to go and listen to what they've got to offer. And if they can't match any of his personal demands, or they can't, more importantly, match the club demands, match the club demands. It's not saying Arsenal second. It's like, look, I'll give you an example because being an old bastard that I am, I can remember a few. So I remember Roy Keane going and listening to George Graham, Alex Ferguson. I think Liverpool were interested in him. He went and listened to all these proposals, and then eventually he chose Man United, right? Because Alex Ferguson back in the day, he knew how to sweet talk his way into a transfer target's ears, right? So for me, I think he knows two clubs are interested. There isn't any other clubs involved. He wants to talk to both clubs. Then he needs the clubs to talk to each other. He knows that Solo have no problems with Arsenal. I feel they know that Arsenal have money. They can actually close the deal. The problem with Juventus is, what is the Juventus offer? Right now, Juventus aren't going to release their offer. Some information should have come out about what their offer would be, right? But information hasn't come out, so that tells you something. The Italians don't like saying, "We're poor bastards. We can't even afford one of our best national players," right? So they always say shit like, "Oh, he's going to favour Juventus." The truth is always going to come out anyway. So, but I don't know. Listen, I'd like to say Brad's made some good choices. I'd probably go with Brad's choices. I know that's controversial because I really was warming to the idea of Maddison, but I don't know how difficult that deal is going to be, and that's not based on any information. That's just a worry.
Yeah, I understand. All right, let's get Haas on.
The signings, I think we'll probably going on deadline day. I think we'll get a DM to replace Xhaka. I don't know. I've had the feeling for a while we'll get Renato to replace him, and we'll probably play party number 6 and play Renato as an interior. Because the thing is with Xhaka, like he's so good at the build-up, like it's kind of hard to replace him in that sense. So I think we're going to completely change the way we build up. I think we're going to go a bit more longer, or I think we're not going to go from left to right. I think we'll probably do something different that I don't know, or I think we'll probably get Basuma on deadline day. It's one of those two. The attacking mid, I'm not too sure as well because as Bell said, it's Maddison as plan A, I was plan B. But we'll see what happens with that. But I think it's more Maddison because I think Arteta wants someone like Maddison with his bravado and his ego to take control of our attack, because I think our attack is a little bit naive and shot shy. So I think with a guy like Maddison, a lot of our defeats as well were all by 1 goal as well last season. So I think with Maddison, I think he's a shot creating monster. He averaged like 5 shot creating actions last year. So with him, Saka, Martinelli, and ESR in the team, hopefully we'll start to shoot a lot more, and hopefully we can turn those shots into wins. And I would like another forward as well as a right back. But the thing is, it depends on Lacazette or Eddie leaving. So a lot of our incomings, as you said previously, it depends on who leaves. So we'll see what happens. But I think we're going to be active.
Yeah, I mean, with the signings, I mean, it's very clear. I mean, I'm going to let Jimmy go before I do my next 3 signings.
What was the question?
The question was after the 3 signings we're about to talk about. What is the next 2 or 3 players you see coming in through the door?
Personally, I think it's obviously a centre mid, attacking mid, and a right back. But for me, I'm more focused on the right back because, Karen, I think you can pitch on this as well. So we've linked with 2 right backs in the last 2 days, right? And they have a similar profile to Callum Chambers.
Here we go.
I'm being dead serious. So all in all, we've been linked with 3.
You mean Celik
right
and the other Turkish lad?
Celik, I think obviously Arsenal's probably looked at him during the Euros. I saw a lot of red flags.
Yeah.
Me too. Players I saw players.
Only saw red flags.
Yeah. So players are basically they were playing off him, if that makes sense, and it was and like balls in behind. I was always couldn't really have that. So maybe Arsenal looked at that and thought he might not be the one. So we've been linked to 12 right backs. Some guy called Tomiyasu, Tottenham on him, and another guy called Mert Muldu. He plays for Turkey as well. He plays for Sassuolo. And when I look at them 3, obviously I'm just looking at in a like basic view, right? They remind me a lot of Chambers, because you got to remember, I think Arteta, he wants a right back that can do basically all the physical stuff, good ball, his feet and whatnot, and that's one of the reasons why Cedric got dropped and Bellerin, if that makes sense. And then towards the end of the season, Callum Chambers was the first choice right back. But so yeah, in the right back interests me a lot, because especially with Tomiyasu, he's Japanese from I'm correct.
He is Japanese, correct? Yeah, he's Japanese.
In terms of him and that Moldo guy, he edges it for me. I think he's very good. Please, people that look him up, he's very good. He's like same stature as Callum Chambers. Very good at the balls, his feet. He can come inside, which I'm guessing Arteta likes. His left foot is basically identical to his right foot, and he's right footed. I've seen a couple of bangers of him. with his left foot as well. But with a centre mid, I would say there's a guy that we were linked with before who went to Lyon, Guimarães, I think his name is.
He's the Brazilian dude, right?
Yeah. So I think I do want to, like, basically pushed him hard, but Juninho ended up basically edging it and somehow convinced him to join Lyon, which probably was a good choice for him because obviously French league is probably a bit more easier than the English league, if that makes sense, and you can take your time to adapt, if that makes sense. So obviously them two positions, and I would say as well, I don't think, because of obviously we know that Kylian Mbappé, obviously it's not transfer, but I do think we're going to see him during the pre-season, only because Saka is going to be he's going to be in holiday.
Yeah, he's going to be taking a rest.
Yeah, and obviously we don't have a lot of left wingers, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously Aubameyang is a one. We know the situation with Willian. He's going to be going and stuff like that. So I think in terms of transfers, I wouldn't say the transfer, but we could see him elevate into being left winger, if that makes sense.
Left winger
in due time. Yeah, in due time, of course, not just throwing him in there, but I think we'll see him during the preseason. But yeah, them three are my main ones.
Right. So if you're going to ask me about the right back situation, for me it's quite clear what's happening. So the profile of player, for me it looks like he's going inverted. I don't know if that's everyone. It looks like he's going inverted. Yeah.
With you saying that bodes well into me talking about that Japanese guy, Tomiyasu. If you watch him, he always when I say his left foot is identical to his right foot, I'm not playing. He's switching with his left foot and everything. And the good thing about him, he has that stature where he can play centre back as well. And I've seen a lot of comps I've seen, they are both right back and left back, which gives us a bit of versatility.
Yeah. So I'm very curious because my personal opinion is this season is a transition season in terms of formation. I think that we start off 4-2-3-1 and we end up 4-3-3. I think that's how we go. I know Isike doesn't agree, and I don't think George does either. But for me, it's a case where obviously it's a game state situation, and it depends on the opposition. But in terms of dominant formation, in terms of how we go out to set up, I think we start 4-2-3-1 because I think he wants to drill it. He has so much time this season to drill things, and he wants to drill the formations that he wants. I think we go from starting his career at Arsenal with a 3-4-3, then moving to 4-2-3-1, and then eventually moving to 4-3-3.
You're spot on, because I think the best way to look at it and how I saw that over the years, especially I would like to highlight Liverpool when they started with the whole 4-3-3 and whatnot. For me, I saw a lot of changes in terms of, like, no one was playing with a natural 10. Nowadays, I don't think there's a lot of teams that play with a natural number 10.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
The position has died.
Exactly. So we've seen the likes of Griezmann. Basically, he's not fitting into the Barca team because obviously he basically occupies the same space as Messi.
That was just a bad signing.
Say that again?
I think that was just a bad signing, like a lot of Barca.
Yeah, exactly. But honestly, just look through the top 5 leagues. There's not a lot of teams that play with number 10. You see what I'm saying?
Jimmy, I hear you. Both what you and Karen said is interesting because I think we've got 2 players, and if we're gonna go to 4-3-3, when Xhaka goes, whoever he buys after that, I think will tell you what formation we're going to play.
Yeah, right? I agree. 100%.
I don't think it's the right back, but I'll tell you why. Because if we've already got 2 players in our squad who could play inverted right back, that's Ben White and Callum, right? Both could play inverted right back. They've both played in that position before. So the truth is, the right back, I think George had a theory that he thinks the indicator is the right back that we're going to buy. I don't think I think when he buys a right back, he's only got one profile that he can really go for, in my opinion, Jimmy, which is possibly something different to what we've already got, right? So this might be a little bit against the play that you're talking about.
By the way, I like that player. I saw a number of clips. You're right. I think he uses his right foot 60. You go look at FRF stats. He uses his right foot 63% of the time, because I was shocked to see how many times he uses left foot. And he's a bit like, I'll tell you who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Walker at Man City, right? You know, the counter. They use in Man City and England now. They use Walker as a sort of a player which stops transitions. That's how I think Bologna have been using him recently. They use him as a player that can stop the opposition from attacking them in transition. Now, for me, this is why I erred in the caution of, like, are we going to go for Maddison and close that? Because that would mean that he's a traditional 10. He can play the left side of central midfield, but I think he'll end up drifting into that 10 position. Now, the traditional 10 position of 4-2-3-1. But if we go for an hour, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right now. I'm actually.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. Sorry.
I've made everyone down. Sorry.
No, it's me. I've been too uptight with it.
What I was trying to say is, I think who we buy in that midfield position. I think that, look.
I don't know if it's just me, but it's a bit unclear.
Nom, you're echoing. Go out and come back, mate, because you're echoing quite badly.
Can I quickly add on Tom Yasu thing?
Oh, you're good again, Nom. You're good. What you just said there, you seem clear.
Can I quickly add something on the Tom Yasu thing? And obviously, you look at pitching, with our right back, for example, in terms of like, we don't really have a lot of Asian players that have done well for us in the past. If I'm correct. Am I right in saying that?
No, you're correct. I mean, we had Park. We had
Asano. Remember him?
Asano. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think Arsenal should look at that and think, that might be a market. That's just obviously just the marketing. Obviously, I'm not good at marketing or anything along those lines, but I do think Arsenal should be looking at that as well, if that makes sense. Because, for example, Tottenham already have a key player that plays for them. He's from South Korea, if I'm correct. So that's just one little side note I thought to add.
Right. So I'm gonna.
Karen, does this sound work now? I'll just come back in.
Yeah, sound works fine now. I don't know what happened there, but you were echoing for a second. I'm going to move on to one or two topics. I think it's going to be ESR news, or what we're thinking, or do we want to do more Tavares stuff with Lokonga and White Sting? I think we're going to do ESR, and then we're going to do Ben White, and then we're going to go Euros, and I think that will be the last three topics. So we can start with the ESR stuff. So what are we thinking about ESR? How are we feeling about these villain people coming in trying to tell us that he's off, trying to comment on his pictures at Colney? It's a bit mad.
At first I laughed it off, but these last few days I got a bit shaky. I just thought that made the murmurs around it, and I thought because I was putting myself in his shoes, right? And although I'd taken my Arsenal hat off, I've been offered good money for my age to go and be one of the main men for a decent side. And you're looking at your own team and you're seeing them targeting Awar, Maddison, and these kind of players. And I was just getting a little bit nervous, and I think that there would have had to have been quite a few these talks. I think that they would have spoken about transfers and who we're targeting. This is why I maybe thought that maybe Maddison might not happen, because I think that it would have been said that you're going to be the main traditional 10, and I think that maybe this is why we've been hearing more Awar talk these last few days. It's a slightly different position to him, but I'm just glad it seems to have come to a positive end, because I think he's an incredible talent who has got a big part to play in our future.
Yeah, so with the ESR stuff, it's a similar case to what the situation has been with a lot of these youngsters. They've been recognised to be key to the development of our team going forward, and we have a situation where we've got plenty of 19, 20, 21-year-olds that are going to be excellent for 5 to 10 years, and the club have recognised that and they've tied them down to long-term contracts. So if you look at the likes of ESR, Saka, Martinelli, we've got players that are actually looking to thrive at the club and really push the club onto greater heights. You can look at the youngsters that's signing, which I'm going to get onto as well, the likes of Arthur Nkonkwo, Keita Taylor-Hart, even players like Dan Ballard who've gone on loan, but we have seen that we're looking to keep these players in check. 9 of our players in the first team squad are Hale End Academy products. Like we've got a culture coming through. If you watched our culture podcast, our first podcast about the not the first one, the youth podcast that we did, in terms of the changes in culture and structure at the youth academy, you can see that there is a key progression now through from the youth academy to the first team. There's a clear path there. And Arthur Okonkwo is part of that, and ESR is part of that, Saka is part of that. There's a clear method to say, look, you want to be in the first team, you have a chance. You have a real chance. We have real people from the scholars down all the way to the first team that want you to get there. So I think it's a silly fear that people are having. Like seriously, there's no need to be afraid for this. At all.
One thing I didn't like about the whole Okonkwo thing was, they're not saying it was a long-term deal. So when I think about long-term deal, I'm thinking about 5 years at least. But it was only a 3-year deal.
No, it's a 4. It's a 4, isn't it? It's a 4-year deal.
No, it's 3. Like he posted himself on Instagram, which is interesting. It's very interesting. I don't know, like I think the standard to say, I don't know, if I do well or whatever, in a year and a half time, you have to sign me on a bigger contract kind of thing, if that makes sense. Why do you think he signed a 3-year deal only? That's my question.
We do that with all of them. The first deal is shorter, and the next year they just get a pay rise.
Yeah, that's the thing. Or also, like, you don't know. Only people realised with the Guendouzi deal that there was an added year. There could be an added year to a 4th as well.
Yeah, I think that's also happened the night before.
No, but I know about I know about the whole thing of when a player becomes 18, their first contract always has to be 3 years. But his first professional contract has been 3 years. But hasn't he already had a contract, like a professional contract? That's my question.
Yeah, he had his scholar at 16.
Oh, okay. So this is basically his first pro contract.
His first pro contract, yeah, Jimmy.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense. So hopefully, now makes sense. Okay, I understand it now.
No, the thing is that you forget how young he is.
Because he's so big.
Yeah. So this is actually his first actual full.
He's our first academy keeper to be put into the first team.
Since 2003 or something.
Or something stupid like that.
Yeah, but you know what? I have to give props to the kid because he's been up there. I think him and Saka have come through all the youth teams together. So the fact that these two boys have made it and they're at, since they were young and they've made it all the way up to the senior team now, they're part of the senior squad setup. That's props, man, big time. Can you imagine you and your mate playing all the way from the young youth levels and going all the way through?
I'm gonna answer this question very quickly. We're going to get back to ESR, but this guy has been asking it twice now. I don't want to address Saliba, but we're going to here. Look, with Saliba, it's very clear. The player wants to be in France. He's not going to get. No one at this club is guaranteed a starter, especially when you're 20 years old. It's not about personal issues. It's not about personal problem with Mr. Arteta, as you put it. It's an issue of, look, the guy is young. He's raw. He's someone that has a lot of potential, but you have to realize that there are actual people at the club that want a stable structure. And if you start this season with Gabriel and Saliba, when literally there are only 4 centre-backs in the last year who are under the age of 23, forget 20, under the age of 23 that have started over 1,000 minutes in the Premier League this past season. And we're going to in one of our most important seasons, we're going to let our most experienced centre-back go and replace him with a 20-year-old. It doesn't make sense. he has a future at the club. I love William Saliba. He's a great ball playing midfielder. There's a bloody bug around me.
Defender, you mean?
He's a great ball playing defender. He's someone that can advance play. He's good with his feet. He's someone that can defend well. But it's just not a case where we can rely on a 20-year-old in literally our most important season.
Yeah. So, Kuran,
in the past 10 decades.
So, Kuran, then what do you think about the prospect of him signing a new deal? Because it looks very slim to me, if I'm honest.
I don't really know, mate, and I don't really care to know at this point in time. I'm tired of it. Like, if he wants to go...
Hold on, let me try to answer that, Karen, because look, Jimmy, we don't know. Basically, we can't read into the future. So he's gone to Marseille. We don't know what reasons he chose to go to Marseille, right? Because let's be frank.
I mean, Europa League helps.
Sorry?
Europa League helps. They're playing Europa League.
Yeah, I think maybe that might have come into it. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But
let me just quickly make this point, because my thing is because I don't really want to stay on Saliba too long. But my point is if he goes away, he comes back with 2 years left on his deal, and we're in the Champions League. We've got top 4. Is he really going to go? Oh wait, I'm guaranteed. They're going to say I'm going to get if I performed on loan. They're going to say I'm going to get minutes next season. Yeah. I'm really going to go. Oh wait, no, I'm going to go to Nice or I'm going to go to Marseille, who either won't have European football or are in the Europa League.
So then, what about that, if that doesn't happen? Let's just say we just end up getting back in the Europa League. Then what?
Yeah, I mean that's less of a bargaining position. But it still is a comparable situation. If he's going to a Marseille or a Nice, who will probably have Europa League football as well, I don't really think.
Guys, you know what, Karen? I think we're reading too much into the situation though, because I think we need to read the statement what the club released or what the club have said out there, through the papers. They've said that it's decided by both parties that it was right for him to get more game time. Okay. So yeah, maybe the club secretly wanted him to stay and sort of compete with Ben for a place, but Saliba didn't want that. He felt that at this time of his development, with his agent, and they have a right to think this, by the way. I'm not going to say it's not, just because it's not right for the club, it might be right for the player, right? So the players, we as a club have a vested interest in the player's development because he's our player. So if they've decided, all parties have decided, fair enough, him going off and getting more game time is really important. We as a club can do maybe something else different this year. It's not ideal for us, but maybe in the long run it might be better, and it puts us in a better footing with the player and the agent. And he's then said, right, I want to go to Marseille. I don't want to go in the Premiership, which again would have been better for us, because I don't know. Maybe he's got, as I said this before, right, in another Spaces, and this was much near the time. He might have personal reasons why he wants to be in France. Now, after he's spent a year there, he's got his games. He will have to, like every player comes back, right? You look at Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Willett coming back into the squad. They all have to make decisions about their career every summer when they report back to pre-season. Am I going to be at this club? Am I going to be given a fair chance? Is this where is this where I establish myself? Do I give myself a shot? So he has to come back that next year, either knowing that, I'm going to really push for it. I think I'm ready now to come and compete for the first team. And I'm going to convince the manager that that's the case, because that's the case for every player, right? It's not just for young players coming through, it's for every player. They have to come back every pre-season and prove that they belong in that squad and that they're ready for that season coming up. So I'm just going to... And then obviously we will talk about contracts then, but I think before then, why are we all giving ourselves like, high blood pressure over this?
Right. So, yeah, but I want to get. It was a bit of a tangent, but I want to. We good? Okay. Yeah. So I just want to. Sorry, it's just a little quick echo there. There's the point I was trying to make is we're gonna just quickly go back to the ESR stuff. If anyone's got any final comments on that before we move on to what I was going to talk about.
Well, my final comments on that is I think everyone just needs to relax. I think you just need to relax. I think it will happen. It just takes its time. We're Arsenal. We do take a while to get things done. ESR, at the end of the day, it's an agent's job to try and get the most money out of a deal. So that I've got nothing against him for doing that, and I think the deal gets done. So I just think relax about it.
Yeah, so with the ESR stuff, I'm not going to lie and say, oh, it's complete nonsense. There was no interest from either side. I don't know if that's the case, but what it looks like is that that the agent has tried to increase his leverage on the club, and it's a case of people on both sides wanting to get the best out of the deal. I think ESR has realized that he has a future in this team. He's constantly praising the manager. Same with all the guys, all the young guys. They've all said that Arteta's improved them, that they get so much good advice from him, etc., etc. And those are direct quotes. They're not just me just go waffling on. These are direct quotes. Like Tierney has constantly talked about how much he's learned from Mikel, how much direction he gets from Mikel. Like these are things that actually have happened. So with the ESR situation, I'm not worried at all. There are people who are insinuating that it should be done soon. I think it will be a case where we're going to be having one day and there's just going to be bombshell after bombshell after bombshell. I'm talking Tavares done, Lokonga done, White done, ESR contract. There's just going to be one.
They're going to reenact that. They're going to reenact that picture of the English core where they got all 5 of them sitting down signing their contracts. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, something stupid like that. I can totally see Arsenal doing something silly like that. But it's going to be a lot of information dropped at once, because I think they've lined up a lot of deals to be finished, and I think the Ben White one I think actually might be done. I want to say by Wednesday. Which, by the way, we will be going live. We will be doing videos for each signing, so please tune in for those if you can. Hopefully, in next week we'll have a couple to go through.
Are you doing a video for Sunday?
So what we're doing this weekend is we're actually not doing a live tomorrow, because we're doing the podcast tomorrow because George wants to get shit-faced on Sunday. I think we're doing we're not doing anything Sunday either, because I'm in London, as you guys know. I am going to be going to Wembley. I've booked Box Park, Wembley, so I will be going to Wembley to be at the celebrations, hopefully. And then Monday we'll be doing a Euros final reaction, and then throughout the week hopefully we'll be doing signings videos. I'm hoping sooner rather than later. And then next Saturday will be a transfer window video live, and then they will have a Sunday podcast as usual. So in terms of how did I get Box Park Wembley, that's for me to know and you to find out, mate. It's been a bit of a. I got lucky with that one. I'm not gonna lie.
How much do you pay for the ticket? I heard they're about 30 quid, Karen.
They're about 30 quid. Yeah, it's about. I think it's 34.99. So, yeah. So,
I was going to ask something before, like, you know, one of the things that we didn't discuss, and I know it came up very briefly. Crystal Palace supposedly made a bid for Eddie Nketiah. Did you guys hear about that?
Yes, I did hear about that.
Well, I don't know how reliable the source is, though.
No.
I think we see some good news and think, oh, you know what, fuck it, this guy's reliable.
Yeah, no, but I can imagine someone like Crystal Palace making a bid like that, and that would be the region they would like bid for, because I think if I looked at, do you remember we discussed this before, Willow? Like, what would the realistic price be for Eddie?
Yeah.
So for a Crystal Palace fan just to randomly come up with, I checked something. It looks like there's a number of fans who follow him because of. So with smaller clubs, no offense to Crystal Palace fans, obviously I'm sure they'll understand this. It's easier for fans to have links to the club. Like once upon a time, we used to have direct links with certain fans and on FT, right? But so I'll be interested to see if that carries on, because I think there must be more than one. I think Fabrizio was saying there was more than one club interested in him. There was at least 3 Premiership clubs. So
yeah, that's definitely someone who's an asset, and we should be looking to get at least 15 million for. I think this summer.
I think 15 million is a fair price.
The number of strikers that Watford have signed recently, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll be honest with you though, Brad. Signing strikers when you're coming up in the Premiership, when you're one of the lower teams in the Premiership, is really critical. You need players that can be goal scorers. Now,
I know Eddie King on a free is fantastic business for him.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like Eddie hasn't proved himself in the Prem yet. But I think when he goes to a club like Palace or or Brighton, I think he will start scoring goals. He just needs to be the main man.
It's not even about being main man. The system has to work for him. He needs to be that guy that is playing off the last man, making runs in behind, getting balls fed to him. He can't play in a heavy build-up system where he needs to be link up. He's not that guy, as this guy is.
This is what I'm trying to say to you, Karen. I mean, when I meant like when
different topic,
being the main man is the literal system being built for him instead of like Arsenal where he's having to fit into the system.
But if we're going to talk about Crystal Palace, though, it's the Reading guy. I said about him, I said, someone to look at, he's got a 10 million release clause, and people are like, I don't think that's true. They've just picked him up for £8 million.
No, that was a strong rumour, Willow, yeah.
That is...
The £8 million thing was a strong rumour. So,
most people I spoke to dismissed it and said, "Oh, it's not true. It's not true. It's not."
Yeah, but those are people who probably don't even follow bloody transfers, and they just think you're making stuff up.
That is a brilliant bit of business. That is.
And you know what? I'll tell you what. For me, I think I know what sealed the deal for him. It was the fact that Patrick's there. He's a French kid.
I'm looking forward to see what he does. Crystal Palace are going to be like my team. I'm going to also be sticking on and hoping they do a good job next season.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But obviously, we do.
I think everyone's going to have a bit of a soft spot for Crystal Palace with Patrick being there and a couple of decent players being there.
Yeah.
The thing is, the dilemma is with him. Does he sell Zaha? That's the dilemma, because would he be able to get a buyer to get some cash for him to be able to invest in the squad?
If I'm honest, every single summer...
Exactly, mate. Good comment.
It's been the same thing. Yeah, it's been the same thing where he's handed in a transfer request. That's where I personally know the transfer window is open. When I see like a headline like that, I'm never joking. So,
that's true. Now we need one of his mates to post something, please ask to sign him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, good luck to him, because he's going to be held hostage again.
Yeah. I think he's going to have to resign himself.
I watched the Palace documentary today on Prime. I'm stuck in isolation, so I thought I'd give it a watch. It made me just really like him again, and I just I just remember like really wanting him that summer we got Pepe.
Yeah.
It really made me just rejuvenate my my like for him. And I mean, if we could get some cut price deal for him this summer, I wouldn't say no. But I don't think it makes too much sense. But I wouldn't say no.
Do you not remember when I think it was the game against Crystal Palace against Arsenal? I think at home when Mustafi made that error, and I think at half time him and Lacazette have a conversation, and it sounded like Zaha was saying, "Come get me," kind of thing. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I saw that.
Yeah. I remember that.
He was begging to come.
But I heard that he was taken around Colney and stuff, and he met Emery.
Yeah,
that summer.
Emery.
Yeah, so
he said himself they went to his house.
Yeah, so
the amount of people.
Listen, man, I'm just glad that we don't have that previous setup, because obviously that doesn't make sense to me. If a manager wants a player and he's already started talking to him, what the hell are the club doing then? That for me is like, you don't go to that level when you're trying to process a deal and then say, oh, okay, we don't have the money, we're going to go for another target, because to me that makes no sense. You become a bit of a joke then in terms of, when that gets put out there with agents and stuff, people don't take it seriously anymore. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So for us, if we are going to be talking to players, then we've got to be pretty sure that we can convince them, and that, this is a player that we desperately want, and we have the money for him.
Yeah,
I mean, this stupidity of not having the money and worrying about it afterwards is ridiculous, right?
True.
What are you going to do? Talk to a player? It's like saying, yeah, I'm going to go and talk to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a decent, good-looking movie actress. Karen, give me a girl that you think's hot.
No.
All right, give me a guy that's hot, Karen. Doesn't matter, mate. We're in a movie.
You and Norm, of course. Come on, don't be
silly. Okay. Well, I can't say myself, buddy. Modesty stops me from saying myself. Right, so yeah, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's like you go out and you ask a, I don't know, a supermodel out on a date, and then you say to her that you can't afford the bloody bill at the restaurant. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, that's how I felt.
I don't think that's what's stopping her.
No, but I think with Crystal Palace, I think it was clear to see that they wanted 60, 70, 80 million up front. Without with no add-ons.
I mean, that was fucking crazy, though, wasn't it? That was really crazy. That's stupid.
Honestly, looking back at it, ridiculous. He should.
But I'll tell you one thing, though. Jimmy, Everton were almost thinking about paying it, and I thought you guys must be mad.
They went to like 60, didn't they? Everton. They went to
something
60.
stupid like that. Yeah,
we went there. We went there, didn't we? We just didn't want that final. We didn't want to.
If Crystal Palace get 50 million, I'll be very surprised. I'll say 40
to
50.
No, now they're not getting anywhere near what they were.
Yeah,
what they could have got. Would have got.
Especially with the player wanting to leave as well.
Yeah, they're in a position where it's kind of 30, 35 or nothing really.
But you know what, guys? I'm saying that is because he's got a massive rebuild at Crystal Palace. I know this isn't the Crystal Palace thing, but I'm just saying that he's got so many players out of contract.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Like 11. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean Sunday. The Elisa kid isn't going to be enough for him to sort of mitigate all the players that he's going to end up losing.
Yeah, I'm worried for him. It's a suicide job.
Yeah.
Cahill.
They're signing another player from Nice, so I'm guessing Vieira poached this guy. He's English, but I don't know what his name is. I think he's
I know. I've seen that. I saw that story.
Yeah,
he's played for Man United.
Yeah, so I'm guessing he's using his own links to get players as well. So you never know what's going to happen there.
You know what though? I'll tell you what, Jimmy. He can sign those players, but those players aren't going to be making an impact in the Prem straight away, right? Even Olise isn't guaranteed to make a direct impact. I mean, Eze took a while before he became fully accustomed to the Prem, didn't he? Before he got injured. So for me, I think he's got a really tricky job here because the way Hodgson set everything up and the squad players that he had,
he's been
they all fit the profile of what they wanted to do.
He's been overperforming for years, Hodgson, at Crystal Palace, and I am worried for him because, as you said, 11 people out of contract. It's a suicide job. It hasn't been built well for it.
True.
I'm like, they're going to be fighting relegation next year. It's going to be
I just hope he got assurance from Steve Parish. I hope he got assurance from Steve Parish that there is going to be some money, or they've got a plan to generate money to be able to.
Or they've got like deals in principle with at least 5 of the 11 players that are out of contract. You know, I doubt that they would all be off.
Quick question, lads. Do you not think when Palace play Arsenal in the league that there's going to be some sort of, I don't know, clapping for Vieira at the end of the game or something? Because
not a specific clap, but we'll respect.
Some sort of admiration along the lines.
Yeah,
if we're not going to start booing him, are we?
If we win,
of course afterwards.
No,
I'm
he'll get a massive cheer when his name gets announced at the stadium.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Respect.
Okay,
I mean, he's a captain, he's a legend.
Honestly, I'm curious to see what happens. To be honest.
Yeah, because it's the same thing. For example, if I don't know if Rangers played Liverpool, I'm guessing he would have got Gerald.
Of course,
massive reception. Do you know what I'm saying? So I would have thought maybe we could have done the same thing, just show some appreciation or something.
I'll tell you one thing. Listen, guys, you must have seen the game where Eduardo came back and he scored a penalty for Shakhtar, and the guy got a standing ovation from our Arsenal fans. I know we were thrashing them at the time.
We've been through some shit since then, though. We've got way more toxic.
We've got they'll be busy. Actually, our fans won't be clapping Vieira. They'll be busy booing our own manager. So
if we lose that game as well, Vieira's getting booed. I don't give a shit.
No, Arteta's getting booed, and people are chanting Vieira.
True, yeah.
The fan base will get confused. They won't know who to have a go at. Do you know what I mean?
So, I think it'll be part 2. Remember last year with Klopp and Roy Keane having a go at each other afterwards. I think that I could see that happening between Vieira and Roy Keane. He says a few things.
That'd be funny. That'd be hilarious. Can you imagine Vieira brings Roy in as an assistant coach? That'd be hilarious.
Right. I'm gonna
side more like.
Yeah. So we're gonna go in the last 20 minutes here. So I'm gonna ask before we do a last 5 minutes, it's coming home sort of thing. For 15 minutes, I'm going to ask, what do people want to see in pre-season? Who are we excited to see? Who are we looking to? Who are we looking out for? Which games are you more excited about? Anyone can go for that one.
Right, I'm going to go in. First of all, sorry to be a bit of a negative person here, but I'll tell you what I'm not excited for. I'm not excited to pay £7 for each game. That is what I'm
not.
You robbing, but how dare you do that to the Arsenal fans? I must admit, I'm pissed off with them doing that. £7
it's not good.
Is cheap, but will I still do it? Of course I will. Arsenal's my drug.
Will I? Forget that.
You know people are just going to stream it. You just know people.
Ronaldo 7, Ronaldo 7. What's the other one? Checking them places.
Total Sport Tech, isn't it? The other one.
Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah,
the unsung heroes. The unsung heroes.
Those American games, definitely.
But talking about like what I'm excited for, I'm excited for all the youngsters coming. I'm excited to see Balogun start games and actually get the minutes. I'm excited to see what's his name, the goalkeeper, Konko. Is that it?
Konko, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him get into it because he's going to be our third choice next year. And you think, if he really proves himself, maybe he can work his way up even further.
Wait, I swear he's our only goalkeeper that's probably going to start on Tuesday. Him and Ruderson. I'm guessing it's going to be a Konko because Ruderson's going to leave. That's interesting. I never thought about that. Because Leno's still on holiday.
Yeah, but he deserved that chance though. He signed a pro contract. He's a third choice goalkeeper. Yeah. He deserves to start. I don't see a problem with that.
That's true. That's actually
right
true.
Because I think that's a good reward for the kid. Getting a few of the preseason friendlies under his belt. Yeah, for me that's a good idea. Look, I think I don't think going back to that. Do you remember the goalkeeper we were talking about, Onana? I don't think Onana one maybe. I agree with Brad. It might be something that it would make sense. But I don't know. I only mean Brad.
You went really quiet for me.
Yeah,
you went really quiet.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I didn't hear most of stuff. Yeah, start
no,
again.
I was just saying. I agree with Brad that I think the goalkeeper situation we might accelerate now that Okonkwo signed, but I don't give a shit if Leno. I think Leno's got a chance between. CK's going to hate me for saying this, but right, I think Leno potentially stays because we can't get rid of him because I can't see a buyer out there. But he stays in goal up until when Onana gets himself fit. And then after that, Onana takes that jersey off him and it's his to keep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I agree, though. I agree with that.
CK agrees. It's ridiculous, man. That's crazy.
I don't want it to happen.
But CK, can you punch that? Can you punch that effigy that you've got in your room of Leno? Just I know you agree, but I think you need to sort of at least get the anger out.
No, like I thought about it. Like I didn't want it at first, but then I realized that no matter how much I want him out, Onana can't play till November, and Lennon will make it hard for anyone to buy him anyways. So just
I think as well, if you trying to, because I'm guessing Onana wants the first choice, and I think maybe because obviously things has gone quiet because maybe he wasn't really convinced that he wanted to be a number 2, if that makes sense. But I think maybe with Arteta's good convincing skills, that he's convinced him, listen, you're only going to be understudy or on number 2 till January or next year at most. Probably that's why I probably accepted it and stuff like that.
Jimmy, I think it's quite straightforward because I think the whole point of buying Onana, if you're Onana, you know that Leno's greatest weak point is that his kicking game is not good enough. And that's why the manager's buying you, right?
Yeah,
so you don't have to be promised number 1 because you know you're going to become number 1 because you know the way he wants to play eventually, right?
Yeah.
So for Arsenal, it makes sense for us to keep stability there. There's no point sticking a young English goalie in there. I'm not talking about Okonkwo. I'm talking about if we bought another player. Let's say we sold Leno, and we bought a young English goalkeeper, whatever it is that we bought as a backup.
Just does the Ramsdale. So anyone else?
No, nobody's going to.
Do you not believe that Ramsdale stuff? By the way,
no. I think
we looked at them because just for the homegrown aspect.
One thing I would be monitoring is that what's picking up pace at the moment is Areola to West Ham, and this is rumoured to be quite cheap. And this is someone obviously has now played in the year in the Premier League. He's played in a Fulham team that do like to play out, and I seriously would be monitoring the Areola situation. I think, especially if we could get 15 to 20 for Leno. I know it's struggled to get a buyer, but I don't only think we need to get cheap, and then we can get Areola and Onana for the money we're getting for Leno. Areola starts, then we have a really competitive 2 keepers there. But I would certainly try
that's a smart call. Brad, that's smart call. I tell you why.
Jump on this West Ham deal for Areola because I think he's
that's a smart call, Brad.
FIFA stuff.
But I'll tell you why. Because look, Jimmy, I'll tell you. I said exactly this a few weeks back. I said we need a club like West Ham to come in because look, Fabianski's 36 years old. He's going to run down his contract. They've got 2 other goalkeepers who are never going to make it in there. They're shit. So they've got 3. Apart from Fabianski, the other 2 goalkeepers aren't worth being there, right?
Is one of them?
If we could convince Areola to come to us and we sell Leno to them for 20 million quid, my God, that would be a great. I tell you what, Brad. The problem they might have is they're going to try to close down the Lingard signing. And I think they're going to try to sign 1 or 2 other players. I think Arsenal should do this with Leno. If a club
So
can't
you
afford
buy
him in the window,
what does that tell Onana?
loan with an obligation to buy. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
100% anything. I mean, because if we
That
can bring in
gets him off
those
our
two,
books,
I mean,
and
I'm
that gets him off
laughing.
our books, and it gets Onana and another goalkeeper in through the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you buy Onana and Areola, what does that say to Lennon? What does that say to either of them, though?
Well, Leno
But you've got to remember,
Go and kick
Areola
rocks.
has been a number 2 for the last 7 years. I mean,
exactly.
and
That's why he was moved, because he doesn't want to be a number 2.
But if we bring him in with the saying, right, you are the number 1 till November, guaranteed, no doubts about that. If you impress, we're not going to bring an honor in straight away, and we are going to have a competitive thing between you two competing for this place. And if you have no reason to give up your number 1, you will not give up your number 1. Because remember, Onana is not going to jump straight in first game after his ban, bang, he's our keeper.
No,
if we do sign him, and I think there's nothing wrong with having that kind of competition.
But I feel like the other thing though is Areola's coming on loan. Areola's coming on loan, right? So for me, I think because it's not a permanent transfer, I think Areola coming on loan for a year as a second goalkeeper, giving us more time to look for another. Either giving Okonkwo more chance to develop into our number 2, or
we get a cheap option to buy on him because he's another year down on his contracts, and he's our permanent number 2. It's a win-win.
But the only thing I would say with Areola dildo is at PSG, he is on 150,000 a week. To be fair, they paid most of that. What Fulham only had to pay 4 million.
Yeah.
Year. They only had to pay 4 million per year.
But they just want him off their books, right? So I think they're willing to strike a decent deal if they can get him off their books. For them, it stops other players from coming into their club. If he's still on their books.
Yeah, because West Ham have got an option to buy if that deal goes through. So that is an option on this card. So I mean, it's just something that I'd be monitoring.
Yeah. If we were gonna flog Leno, I would flog him to another Premiership club and Moyes would love him. Do you know why? Because he doesn't give a shit about passing the ball out the back. He wants it lumped.
But do you think Leno would want to go to another Premiership club?
Sorry.
Do you think Leno would like to go to another Premiership club?
I don't think Leno wants anything.
He would go back to Germany.
But nobody in Germany wants him though. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, that's true. His
ego might not like it, but his ego has to face reality, right?
Look, there's got to be a balance between what the player wants and what the club wants. You can't just. Yeah. I mean, because the thing is, we can agree that a fee all we want, but if there's no personal terms agreed, then there's no deal. The player just comes back and that's it. So you need to be able to find a solution that works for people. I don't think it's England for Bad Leno. I don't think he likes it here that much. I think he's had to deal with what is the toxic Arsenal fan base. But I think for Leno, it's a case of where can he start? Because I think he's someone that needs that ability to know that he's going to start every week. So I think maybe go back to Stuttgart might want him. Maybe somewhere in France.
Yeah, but
maybe even somewhere in Italy, because I know we've done deals.
Stuttgart can't afford him. They couldn't even pay us for bloody Mavropanos. So
exactly.
I know. But these are just
the only club who could possibly want him back is Bayern, but I think they've got a decent goalkeeper, so they don't want him neither.
Yeah, Rebecca, fantastic Euros.
Yeah. Not look for a goalkeeper.
Who? Sorry.
They've
already bought someone recently.
The German teams have a worse opinion on Lennon than us because he was worse there.
Before CK wants to punch him up,
I'm going to have to shoot because my battery's about to drain. It's gone down to 4%.
Go. It's fine.
Boys, I will catch up with you boys sometime soon, right?
If you haven't already followed.
Yeah. All right. Take care, boys. All right. Catch you later.
Right. Last topic before we head off, because I'm gonna try and keep this nice and tidy around 2 hours. We're gonna move on to some Euro stuff. So I'm gonna start with player of the tournament, guys. Who we calling as player of the tournament? I'm gonna eat some chocolate, so you guys can go for it.
Depends on the final.
Has to be Sterling, man. I think regardless of the outcome of the final.
Harry Kane scores 2 goals on Sunday. Harry Kane.
Oh no way, no way.
CK, nah, he ain't having it.
No way.
Sterling
carried him for how many games?
About 6.
Well, I've got two. My two, and it's a one is Sterling, which is the non-controversial, but I've got a controversial one, but I think it is very deserved. My boy, I fell in love with him. The slabhead himself, Harry Maguire. He has been phenomenal. He has been phenomenal. Luke Shaw as well. I'll give him his due.
You know what's interesting? Yeah, you know everyone is praising Maguire, but no one said what about Stones.
He just gets his job done.
He's been the worst in the back four.
No, yeah, he's not been the best. Stones has not.
He has been the only consistent. He's been the only one that's been there every time. So you know, you gotta give his credit.
Wait, are you not saying?
Well, Pickford as well.
Pickford's semi-final took him out of that equation. I think that was one of the worst goalkeeping performances.
No, but Pickford was never in the conversation.
Every time he ran up into that ball,
Pickford is scary.
Honestly, I didn't know what he was doing.
No, we're talking about consistent people who have been there all.
Oh, yeah, of course he's been there. Yeah.
Sterling's the one from the England team, I think.
I think Sterling is the
I just think that in the final, if Italy win, then an Italian player will win it.
All I'm saying is we've conceded one goal from out. We've scored one goal. We conceded one goal from a set piece. We haven't conceded from out of play. Harry Maguire has been absolutely phenomenal since coming in. His ball progression, has been so different. He's chipped in with the goals. He scored a header. He's been absolutely phenomenal.
I think that Kyle Walker has made him look even better. I think Kyle Walker has.
Maguire's played on the left.
I was going to say Maguire played on the left.
I think Kyle Walker has allowed them to step up and sometimes get exposed. And Kyle Walker, I think, has made us look slightly better than we are.
All I'm going to say is, though, but the Denmark game, I think, is a great show of it, is they played a different system and Harry Maguire bossed it. And then they even moved to, fuck it, we're going to put Poulsen up front. We're going to put a big striker up front. We're going to hit it up to him. Every ball just came back off Harry Maguire's head. He won everything. He's been phenomenal throughout the whole season. I love to banter United fans for spending 80 million for him, but he has been quality this tournament.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
definitely be flawless.
Guys, I'm gonna call out some names, and I'm gonna tell you. I want people just to shout out yes or no in terms of whether they ever shout for player of the tournament. Okay?
Here comes Schick.
That's the third name I'm gonna say. So shush. Romelu Lukaku, shout or no shout?
No.
No.
I thought he's been good though. His hold up play. Hold up play has been good, but no.
If they got further, then yes, but no.
Yeah.
I think it does have to come from England originally, to be honest.
How many goals did he score?
No, I've got
4. I think he wouldn't get it, but it's a shout.
There's one man who doesn't play for England, Italy, that I'd say yes to. I'll wait to see if he comes up.
Well, since Willow's called it, look, top goal scorer in the tournament so far, along with Ronaldo, more non-penalty goals than Ronaldo. Scorer of the best goal tournament so far in Patrick Schick. He's got to at least have a shout for it. Come on.
Yeah, he's got a shout.
What's the best goal?
We'll give him half a shout. Yeah.
No, I'd give him a shout. I'd give him a full shout at the end of the day. As you said, 5 goals in the tournament. The goal of the season. He's been quality. He's been a big part of how. Because you got to think on. I know we have these standards of but you didn't get to the final, you didn't get to the semi-final. But at the end of the day, when you're these much smaller teams, getting to the quarters is still a phenomenal achievement.
Oh, it's huge. I just think that it does tend to be biased towards teams that go further.
And not many people would have put Czech going that far.
Yeah,
either.
Of course. No,
That's true.
No, well, I did, but no one else did. But
that's I was waiting for you to come in there, setting you up there, Corin.
Pedri.
For young player.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal.
Young player.
I think in the last game that he played, I think he had one misplaced pass.
Young player.
Just one. And he played over 100 and he played 130 minutes, right?
120.
One misplaced pass. One. That's phenomenal stuff, man.
Yeah. Him, Saka, and Chiesa for young player tournament. They're the 3.
He's injured now, but does Spinazzola get a shout on this?
He should have.
Yes.
If he was still playing, he would have won it.
Really, honestly, I'm controversial with Spinazzola. He got in so many good positions, but I'm going to get so much fucking hate for this. But the guy just reminded me of Kolasinac. The amount of times he'd get in great positions, but his final ball was just wank. His final ball was just wank. The amount of times
Willow, my friend. You got to remember this guy he's right-footed, and he's playing.
But we have to be looking at
Man said kebabisnash.
We need to be looking at Mailer over him, I think.
No, if you watch it properly, Spinazzolla's there. He's there cutting edge. He's the one that when they attack.
The last shout I'm going to put in is Frankie De Jong.
No,
you see, I was waiting for Paul Pogba. Was the name I was waiting for.
Pogba was arguably the best player till he went.
Pogba was the player that grabbed me the most in this tournament when I watched him.
He was.
I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed, man. De Jong over Pogba.
Pogba was mine.
De Jong was carrying.
No, I don't know about that.
Pogba captured me in this tournament. Obviously, only got as far as round 16, but when I watched Pogba, he is the most talented individual I watched in this tournament.
I agree.
I wouldn't say De Jong stamped his name on any of the games.
He was bloody brilliant, but Pogba standard, I don't think not quite.
The stuff Pogba was doing, like time off.
Didn't get the goals that Pogba scored, so people just shout Pogba. But De Jong was everything.
No, he's been phenomenal.
It's not just the goals. It's the outside the pass balls. Who was what ball did Pogba do for one of the goals where I can't remember. He hit it with the outside his boot into the box.
The ball to Benzema that looked offside originally, and then it got checked. And...
No. Oh shit! I'm not even thinking of that one. I'm thinking of a different one as well. It was like the assist.
He played the half volley out to the left, which was
this was the one where he was on the right-hand side and he put it into someone else in the box, and then he put it into the he put it into Hernandez, and then Hernandez put it into the middle. Like that's what I mean. Like I've just named a great pass, and you guys have just named another great pass. Like
another 5 great passes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you need to know.
I said he was the best player in the tournament, probably from until we left, but he's been out for so long that you can't get it.
But then I don't think anyone after him has truly grabbed it.
But you can't give it. You never give it to someone.
I think Sterling.
Sterling, I think, is the standout, but I think the slightly niche shout because they went out slightly early, I think, is Paul Pogba.
But the other thing I would like to say as well is like we've just mentioned Harry Maguire being great, Luke Shaw being great, and Pogba being great. I think that sets up a certain tone for a certain manager. If you've got these 3 players that have been through the best in the tournament, but yet they can't get past Villarreal in the final. Manchester United.
Are we saying Southgate's the greatest, or is this Oli?
No way.
I think Southgate should get his flowers and on this, man, because people still criticize him till today. Because one thing I've seen from minute one of first game is just how pragmatic he's been. Makes sense. Just not conceding goals, just making sure you keep it tight until later on. Because one of the things that we've seen is that he's used the subs well, if that makes sense. They come on and make a proper impact, if that makes sense. So he's been me personally, I don't really agree with the style of play, but it's worked. And he should.
I disagree with the subs thing. I think the only sub that's really done anything is Grealish. Everybody else hasn't.
Honestly, when Marcus Rashford has been subbed on, I don't think he's touched the ball. I think he's been absolutely dreadful every time he's come on. And I've doubted him every single time he steps on the pitch.
That's the thing about Rashford. Even though I don't like the guy, I just think he has.
Why don't you like him?
Whoa! I like the guy.
Why do you like him?
He's a decent guy. I think he's a better politician than he's a footballer. I think.
I don't like him. But with him, just that. He hasn't been fit in 2-3 years. It's continuously overplayed him. He's been playing through injuries for months and months and months. So even though
you hate him because of his injuries.
What are you talking about? I said he's not going to perform to his best level if he's been injured for years.
That's the thing that Solskjaer's done. What Alex Ferguson did with Rooney, just kept playing him for injuries and then fucking him up.
Yeah, you should just let him.
He's gonna have his surgery like after Euros, I think, or something.
He should have went. He should have stayed at home just like Greenwood did.
No, I think obviously he can bear with it for now. Then probably that's why he hasn't played a lot for long. But it is very interesting how.
What do you guys think of the news that Southgate is either going to pick Foden or Saka?
I don't mind as long as we win the game. I don't mind.
Personally, FC has won. I don't care if he doesn't play on some corners. Yeah, you see what I'm saying. He tries to come on a Gaza thing
to help. I think could help us quite a bit. But
yeah,
I think that Harry Kane's going to do that, and we're going to need Saka and Sterling bombing past him. I think that Harry Kane's going to spend much of his time into the midfield.
Yeah, I agree with you, CK. Mount should be benched before anyone else. But all I'm going to say is with the Saka situation is when Saka's played against Jorginho, he's put him in an absolute spliff every time he's played him.
Don't forget, lads, do not forget. Yeah, he's not playing against Spinazzola. Obviously, he's playing against Emerson.
Yeah,
and that's for me. It
didn't matter who it was. It could have been Spinazzola or whoever's playing there is going to have a tough time.
No, but obviously he's much better that he's playing against Emerson. The guy has played like 70 minutes of football the whole of last season. Clearly, he's not good enough. You see what I'm saying? So, for Saka, it's lunchtime.
Moving back to the topic quickly, though, to finish it off. CK and Curran, who are your players of the season? The player of the tournament, sorry.
For me, because he was so important in England getting to the stage they were, it's probably Sterling. Sterling will get it. And that's why I don't want Kane to get a goal in the final.
Any goal I'll take any goal.
He'll get plaudits when he's been good for like 1-2 games maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, and Curran?
You are muted, mate. Curran, you're muted. Yeah, in the final, I don't want Kane to score. I honestly couldn't.
Hello.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So basically, all I'm going to do before we go is a score prediction and man of the match, and then I'm going to sign off.
Who's your?
I told you, Sterling as well.
Oh, okay.
Sterling. Okay.
Yeah. So
2-1 England.
Anyway, but yeah,
2-1
England. Willow.
Oh, come back to me. Let Jimmy go. I need to think.
Jimmy.
I'm gonna say 1-0 to England. Pragmatic thing.
Who?
1-0 to England in a pragmatic way. Just see out.
No, man of the match. Doesn't matter who scores.
Man of the match.
Whoever scores.
I think one person that's not been mentioned and that's been doing well on and off the ball is Kyle Walker. So I think he's going to be very important to how we play and everything else. So I'll say Kyle Walker.
And Brad?
I'll say Kyle Walker.
0-0 90 minutes. 1-0 England at extra time. And that goal is going to be Phil Foden off the bench. Everyone gets the cut. That's what it's going to be.
That means everyone has to.
Phil Foden to do Mario Götze things.
All over it. I really do.
I'm going to go with what I'm going to go with is I'm going to go with penalties after 1-1 and we win on penalties.
I can't watch it. I couldn't watch.
I'll tell you who Jorginho misses the losing penalty.
No, but the 1-0 who scores in that normal time.
Harry Kane. Sorry, CK.
Harry Kane for me, with me, the Harry Kane thing is not even really personal. It is personal because I haven't celebrated any of his goals. But
are you serious?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't.
He's become like Lee Judges.
Lee Judges, yeah.
Not to that extent. I've smiled and stuff, but with Harry Kane, it's a thing where I see the media and then Sterling's the best player in the game.
Yeah, listen.
Kane gets all the headline and it just annoys me.
CK, you see it, and like the way they're trying to spin it as if Kane has basically been classed on minute
player of the tournament, yeah.
Yeah, no,
For me, it's 1-0 after extra time, and the true top scorer of the competition own goal will be it'll be. I think I call in Italy a howler.
For me, I honestly think it's going to be I think Saka's going to
be a 1-0 for me.
A goal or assist.
Yeah, 1-0.
I think Saka will get a goal or assist in the
Yeah,
final.
I think it'll be similar to
an assist or goal from Saka and Sterling.
Yeah, I think it will be a Saka assist to an own goal for me. That would be my goal.
Again,
the interesting thing though with Saka, I think him and Kane have built up some sort of French, not French, like on the pitch in terms of like the ball that he gave to Saka, he done it 2 or 3 times after that. I think they kind of like understand each other, so I think that will be key as well.
Right.
I think so.
Right. I want to.
I
want to thank everyone for coming on. So before we go, just plug your socials, guys. So I'll go from CK, and then we'll go around to Willow, and I'll go last. So go for a CK, man.
Yeah. Your CKK on Twitter. Don't reply to my tweets. And
yeah, don't reply to his tweets. He gets mad.
Follow on TikTok, like Ball of a Passion.
Jamie, go for it, man.
Yeah, obviously just Jimmy Conway 19. Just follow me for just anything basically, and mostly football stuff. But
Brad,
just at Bradley Bissett on all platforms, Instagram or Twitter. Just my name.
And then Willow.
I'm on Saliba Season 2 ends. Follow Ball Over Passion, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Give the retweets out as well.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna do a quick in terms of what we're doing this weekend, just to remind you. So we're recording the podcast to be released on Monday on Spotify. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, so they've got the podcast being released on Monday. We're also going to be doing a live reaction to the Euros on Monday as well, and we are going to be doing transfer videos hopefully next week. Don't forget, please watch the podcast from last week on Arsenal, and please follow us on Spotify, subscribe here, follow the Twitter, Ball of a Passion. My name's Karan. If you want to follow me, you're more than welcome to. You can reply to my tweets. I don't mind. I'm at C.
I won't reply back.
No, he won't reply. He won't reply back, and he gets angry if you do reply to him. So don't reply to him. But yeah, you can follow me at CC_BOP2. Please follow the Twitter at Ball of Passion, the TikTok, which CK is doing as well. We've got some of CK's comps on the Twitter as well, if you want to check them out. My name's Karan. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been the 3rd Ball of a Passion space, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye bye.